Good morning, friends. I love looking out there and you're ready to sing. I know you're so ready to sing. Let's get up and sing. We're going to sing Come and Go With Me. It's hymn number 1018 out of the Teal hymn book. I doubt you'll need the hymn book or the screen. You'll just need me. So look over here and I'll help you. And we'll sing together and have a lot of fun.
And welcome. Wasn't that a great song to start the morning? Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ann Radford. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is Reverend Sara Lewis, the Director of Community and Faith Development, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Kevin Johnson, a new member of our worship arts team. You are welcome here just as you are, whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. Here are a few things that you should know about our service today so you can feel comfortable and welcome. We're streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those here in the sanctuary, you can see these sometimes creative subtitles on the screen in front. And on Zoom also, you can have those if you're online. Over here, we have soft, comfy chairs and activities for little hands so everyone can be comfortable. We are a multi-generational community that welcomes people of all ages in our sanctuary. There's also nursery care and story time down the hall in the classroom wing. Please be where you are the most comfortable. We're grateful for the many hands that have helped worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have a chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Sara. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those in person, we invite you to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. And at 12:15 today, please join us back here in the sanctuary or back in the main Zoom room for a forum on legacy forests, why we must protect them, and how to take action, with the Legacy Forest Defense Coalition, sponsored by the OUUC Environmental Action Team. Each Thursday at 5:30, we hold a community dinner open to all. Please join us for food and fellowship. And we can always use volunteers for cooking, setup, and taking things down and cleaning up. On February 20th, the dinner will be our third annual chili cook-off. All who would like to compete can bring a pot of chili, and there will be prizes. Next Sunday, February 16th, the forum at 12:15 will be a skill builder for all on facilitation skills and conflict management, led by Reverend Sara. Come and learn some valuable skills of being in community together. There are many things happening here at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the latest information. Now let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you're online and have a chalice or a candle, please join me as we light our chalices together with the words of Pat Uribe Lichty. Who we are called to be. Our chalice is a reminder that in hard times, our ancestors in faith acted with courage to bring hope and safety, to bring life itself to threatened people. We light it today as a reminder of who we are called to be in a world still dangerous and despairing. With courage and faith, we bring ourselves to the work before us.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sara. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a middle-aged white woman with brown curly hair, today wearing a black dress and a purple stole. Our opening words are offered by Rebecca Savage. We gather together today with sacred intention to declare that justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible, not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and again, and we remember all those who went before us, who made beloved community a dream that could be realized. Justice is our prayer. May our time of worship together continue to water the budding trees of our diverse interdependence. May our time of worship give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirits that need to grow and thrive, that embrace equity as a known way of being. Justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. May it be so. Let us worship together.
I invite you to rise in body and spirit, and let's sing together out of the Gray Hymn Book, hymn number 318, We Would Be One. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat.
So, not that long ago, in a neighborhood not that different from ours, there were a bunch of neighbors who really enjoyed each other's company. They got together frequently. They had barbecues, lots of barbecues. In fact, they had so many barbecues that one of the neighbors planted a permanent big barbecue in their backyard that everyone could use. And they would get together and they would grill hamburgers. Now, some of them liked cheese on their hamburgers, and some of them liked their hamburger with just lettuce, and a few even liked to put like big globs of steak sauce on their hamburgers. And they celebrated the fact that everyone was free to enjoy their hamburger in whatever way they wanted to. And then the neighbor who had planted the grill got a new job in a new city and moved away. They were all really sad. They were going to miss this person so much that it couldn't possibly be replaced. And when a new neighbor moved into the house, everyone watched with great curiosity, wondering how they would fit in. On that first day, the new neighbor went and put out coals in the grill and started a fire. This was very promising. They were going to fit right in. But then, what's this? Where was the hamburger? Oh no, this new neighbor put something soft and flabby on the grill, and the smell was weird. In fact, the smell was so disturbing that everyone ran into their houses and closed the doors. And when the new neighbor came around to invite people to dinner, they all pretended they weren't home. That night, there were phone calls. What were they going to do? In particular, people were very disturbed by this smell. And so they decided that what their neighborhood needed were really tall privacy fences. In fact, so tall that not even smells could get over them. And so, real quick, they all slapped up super tall fences. And that worked. They weren't bothered by any strange smells. Of course, they also couldn't get together and enjoy their barbecues the way they had used to. And the new fences had some other problems too. They were so tall and so ugly. And they were so tall, in fact, they also sort of sagged. And so it was that one day, the whole neighborhood heard a loud boom. And they all ran outside to see what that noise was. And in fact, it was the fences. They had sagged, they had collapsed, they had fallen, all of them, into the new neighbor's yard. Oh no, what if they had crushed them by accident? They checked, but there was no sign of the new neighbor at all. Why, they weren't there. And when they compared notes, they realized that none of them had seen this neighbor for quite a while. For all they knew, they'd moved out weeks ago. They had gotten what they wanted, but they realized they might have made a mistake. This is all of the story that is written. I invite you to imagine the end that you would like to see. Thus ends our story for today.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practice of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. If you're new or visiting us for the first or second time, you're our guest, and we don't expect you to contribute. However, if you're moved to be part of our offering, what you give will be most gratefully received. The offering here does two things. It helps support the ongoing work of this congregation, which is also supported by irregular pledges. And it also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate organization for January and February is New Horizons Communities, and this is what they share about their work. PANSA, now doing business as New Horizons Communities, provides permanent supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness. They create and manage tiny home villages that foster community, encourage personal growth, and promote access to the care and services that residents need. Founded with OUUC leadership in 2007 to support a tent camp for homeless adults hosted by local churches, Panza created Quixote Village, a permanent, supportive community for the homeless in Olympia. Now, as New Horizon Communities, this nonprofit has built 2 additional villages, especially for veterans in other communities. Village staff work to ensure that all residents get the care they need and the services they need to achieve their goals. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you for your generosity in all the ways that you share. This morning, we do what humans have done for all of our existence. We gather in times of worry and anxiety, and in times of celebration and joy. We come into our community bringing all that is on our minds and in our hearts. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a drum beat. Allow its resonance into your body. It is the heartbeat of life, the heartbeat of community. So right now, I invite you to take a deep breath. Feel the air in your body. Feel the earth beneath us. Feel the warmth of connection. We received a very sweet packet of thank you cards from families at LP Brown Elementary School, thanking us for our holiday card drive. Thank you to everyone who helped spread holiday joy to our neighbors. And now let's open our circle wide. For those on Zoom, we invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Those in the sanctuary can see your sharing on the screen, and it's shared with Reverend Mary and the pastoral care team. For those in person today, I invite you to come forward if there is something that you would like to bring into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts that remains unspoken. We hold together all that has been shared. May you feel yourself witnessed. May you know yourself beloved. And now I invite you into a moment of prayerful practice and spiritual practice that's a bit different. So engage with it however you are comfortable. I'm going to invite you to just shake it out. And you might want to stand to do this. You also might want to sit however you want to be. That's fine. And if in the process of shaking it out, you feel like making a silly face or some noises, I'm inviting this to be a safe space for that too. All right? So just take a deep breath and then shake it out. And take another deep breath in and then shake all of that out. And third time's the charm. Take a deep breath in and really shake it out. And having let it all go, I invite you to settle and continue imagining it all just drifting down and away as we have a moment of silence.
Thank you, Gavin. Today's first reading is from The Person You Mean to Be, How Good People Fight Bias by Dolly Chug. We each have identities we claim. We look to others to grant these identities. When we don't get that affirmation, we feel threatened, which is stressful, and we do things we would not normally do. Under self-threat, we become less of the good people we mean to be. Research reveals how our need for affirmation overrides our genuine desire to be a good colleague, friend, and ally. One study found that we value boosts to our self-esteem, such as compliments, more than our favorite sex acts and food. Given that it is socially taboo to openly covet compliments, these study participants probably underreported how much they value that affirmation. We all fall into this pattern. We fish for affirmation. We center our needs, nudging away the needs of others. We seek what activists call cookies, acknowledgments of our good intentions, even when the impact is costly to the cookie giver. We especially crave that affirmation when faced with a situation that challenges the believer identity we are claiming. The affirmation relieves the self-threat, but ironically, we end up acting less like, not more like, the people we mean to be.
Part 1, the people we mean to be. We all have identities that we claim, and for most of us here today, those identities likely include being a Unitarian Universalist and or being a good person. These identities will include values. For Unitarian Universalists, we claim these as our shared values: love, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. The identity of good person has a bit more nebulous values attached to it, but one that I bet we could agree on is welcome and inclusion. For most of the people I know, a good person doesn't leave others out, doesn't exclude others, doesn't discriminate. Now, of course, not everyone in the world believes in those values, and some may still define themselves as good people, moral people, religious people, while believing that some people are better than other people, or that some people should be excluded or bullied because of their differences. And that's a subject for a different day. Right now, I want to examine the gap between believing in inclusion and practicing it. So we start with the assumption that we believe in inclusion. Well, great. If we believe in inclusion, then everyone should be welcomed and feel included, right? Except it turns out that believing in something isn't enough to make it so. And claiming the identity of a good person isn't enough to actually be the person we mean to be. Beliefs and ideas aren't enough. One reason for the tragic gap between intentions and actual actions is that we all hold implicit, sometimes called unconscious, biases. Now, these are biases that we absorb at very young ages from the environment around us, and there is almost no way to be a human without holding some kind of bias. Our biases are more likely to influence our actions when we are under stress, acting faster, at a more instinctual level. So anytime we are rushed, anxious, surprised, or feel threatened, including a perceived threat to our own self-image as a good person, our biases are more likely to drive the bus of our actions, while our conscious beliefs and values become mere passengers. Many times, these biases only result in small actions. Maybe you're just a bit awkward or tense while talking to someone. Or maybe you just sometimes avoid a person. Maybe you're only slightly more likely to help a certain kind of person than you are to help another kind of person. But all of those small actions still add up. Sociologist Robert Merton calls this the Matthew effect, for the rich get richer and the poor get poorer story from the Bible. These slivers of bias add up and can result in huge advantage gaps. And when we as a community are trying to practice inclusion, the little subtle slivers of bias that each of us hold can add up to create some not so subtle barriers to true inclusion and belonging for all. There are other basic features of our humanness, such as our need for affirmation or cookies, as activists call it, that work with bias to steer our behavior in less helpful directions. All of this works together in complex ways, even if we have good intentions. In fact, there are actually 4 types of good intentions that we should especially watch out for. The first is savior mode. Doing good for others can make us feel good and feel good about ourselves. There can be a warm glow of happiness that comes from doing a good thing. And while no one says that helping should be miserable, the danger is that we can get hooked on the happy, warm feelings of do-gooding and make the whole thing about us and meeting our own need for that feeling, rather than being centered on the actual needs and empowerment of other people. The second good intention to watch out for is sympathy mode. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone while not feeling directly connected to what is going on with them. We feel bad for someone without feeling solidarity with them. Well-intended sympathy can lead to charity and care, but almost always results in power hierarchy between the givers and those who receive the care. This hierarchy can lead to disempowering and lowering the esteem and status of those who receive the charity and care, while overvaluing the feelings of the ones giving the sympathy. All of this creates distance and othering rather than inclusion. The third good intention to watch out for is tolerance and colorblind mode. Tolerating something is not the same as accepting or celebrating it. We tolerate someone snoring by putting in earplugs. A common form of tolerance of difference is to be, quote unquote, difference blind, or to claim to not see or notice the differences between people. We say that we see everyone as the same, but for those who are actually different, this feels like not really being seen at all. The last good intention to watch out for is typecasting. Typecasting is a kind of stereotyping, or expecting all individual members of a group to behave in a certain way. And sometimes our typecasting can be thought of as positive, such as, All women are so nurturing and naturally kind. But even these supposedly positive stereotypes limit the possibilities for authentic, real human possibility, limit our ability to truly know one another and include each other in all our complex, quirky uniqueness. These subtle ways of othering people, even with seemingly good intentions, contribute to excluding rather than including people. They also send some really hurtful messages, as outlined in the book, Subtle Acts of Exclusion: How to Understand, Identify, and Stop Microaggressions by Tiffany Jana and Michael Baran. These authors call them subtle acts of exclusion and group them all into the messages that they send. And these messages are: you are invisible. You, or people like you, are inadequate. You are not an individual. You don't belong. You are not normal. You are a curiosity. You are a threat. You are a burden. Pause for a moment and feel those messages in your heart. Now, perhaps some of us receive one of these messages all the time, wherever we go. Perhaps some of us get these messages sometimes in some contexts and not in others. And perhaps some of us never receive these sorts of messages. We all hold different identities and perspectives. But I believe that we are all people who believe that these messages are harmful to belonging and community, inclusion, and justice.
I've been in the storm so long. I've been in the storm so long, children. I've been in the storm so long. Oh, give me little time to pray. Oh, give me little time to pray.
Our second reading is It's Hard Work by Rosemary Bray McNatt from Been in the Storm So Long, a meditation manual. Why are we still talking about inclusivity and diversity when we have done so little to make them real? Why are we still looking pained about the lack of diversity in the denomination? Because diversity, inclusivity is terribly hard, terribly uncomfortable, definitely unsettling, and quite often frustrating. What I know about being inclusive, crossing from culture to culture, learning the language of diversity, is that it's the work of a lifetime. It's hard to accept people who are not like you, who don't talk the way you do, or believe the things you believe, or dress or vote as you do. It's even harder to appreciate them for the things about them that are not like you, to find them interesting and fun, to enjoy the learning that's part of the experience, and to acknowledge, finally, that you may have to agree to disagree. The truth is this: if there is no justice, there will be no peace. We can read Thoreau and Emerson to one another, quote Rilke, Alice Walker, and Howard Thurman, and think good and noble thoughts about ourselves. But if we cannot bring justice into the small circle of our own individual lives, we cannot hope to bring justice to the world. None of us is safe, and none of us will survive. Nothing that Unitarian Universalists need to do is more important than making justice real. Here, where we are. Hard as diversity is, it is our most important task.
Part 2, the practice of becoming the people we mean to be. So how do we move from being a people who believe in but do not practice the value of inclusion to a people of inclusion and justice? How do we do the work that Rosemary Bray McNatt identified as our most important task? Well, I think the first step is to switch from a fixed mindset, the idea that we already are fully formed people who cannot change, to a growth mindset, or perceiving ourselves as always growing, learning, and capable of change. Here is how Dolly Chug describes the effects of this mindset in her book, The Person You Mean to Be. Quote, "When you activate a growth mindset voice, you are more likely to respond, 'I don't really understand what I did wrong, but I would like to understand.' Or take the time to figure it out on your own. You're more likely to apologize by saying, 'I'm sorry, I was wrong,' than by saying, 'I am sorry that you were offended,' which points the finger at the other person for taking offense rather than at ourselves for delivering the offense. In a growth mindset, you are more likely to accept that your apology may not erase the damage done, and to refrain from reburdening the other person by asking them to make you feel better or put their anger aside. If these are new ways of responding, you may feel uncomfortable. Keep trying. Like all habits, these get easier with practice." End quote. And then we can use that growth mindset to intentionally seek out learning, particularly learning about people and cultures not like us. Now, critically, for this to be part of a practice of inclusion, we have to approach our learning with an open mind and heart for ourselves to be changed and moved, rather than with a tourist mindset that exoticizes others. There are so many opportunities to learn more about people different from ourselves, from documentaries to novels to cultural festivals to podcasts, but I'm going to plug one in particular. This year's UU Common Read, a book chosen by the Unitarian Universalist Association for all UUs to read that year, is called Authentic Selves: Celebrating Trans and Non-Binary People and Their Families. We have this book for sale in the Commons right now, and I'm teaching a class on this book this month. Check it out and consider joining me in this learning. But learning about people from a distance is only one step we can take. We can also invest in authentic relationships and come to know people who are different than ourselves in all their authentic, unique complexity. And we'll realize soon that everyone is different than we are. We can move past small talk and invite deeper sharing. Tiffany Jana and Michael Baran in Subtle Acts of Exclusion suggests this, quote, "You can meet with people and ask questions like, 'What's something about you that you would like me to know?' Or, 'What should I know about you in order for us to work better together?' Or, 'How can I best support you this week?' Notice that these kinds of questions are not invasive because they are opening up a space for people to tell you what they want. It's not the same as asking, 'I'd love to know more about you, so tell me about your religion and your sexuality and your education,' and don't do that." End quote. In the context of this congregation, we can enter into more authentic relationships with each other and with newcomers by asking open-ended, curious questions, like, "What are you seeking in a faith community?" Or, "Was there anything about today's service that made you curious or thoughtful?" Or, "Is there something in your heart today that you would like to share?" Once we enter into authentic relationships, though, they will come with some difficulties, which may call on us to build up our skills and capacity around two difficult emotions: pain and anger. We may not enjoy these when we encounter them in others, but we can build our capacity for holding space for them. So an important practice of inclusion is to sit with pain. When others share their pain with us, we may feel helpless, inadequate, unsure what to do. All of these emotions are a kind of self-threat and a natural urge maybe to turn away and avoid the pain. But a more connecting and inclusive way to sit with another's pain is to acknowledge it even when we don't know what to say. Be real, authentic, and there for them. A simple way would be to just say, "I don't know what to say, but I'm here and I'm listening." Secondly, don't make it be about you. Don't shift to talking about how sad it makes you, or to focusing on your own tears, or how angry you are about it. And don't seek affirmation that you are being a good ally or a good friend. This isn't about you. Let it be about the other person, and just listen and hold space for their pain. And finally, if you have real help or support to offer, do that and be specific. Such as, "I know someone you could talk to and I will connect you with them." Or, "I can do some research and look for resources for you." Specific and doable offers are much better than, "Is there anything I could do to help?" The other difficult emotion we may encounter is anger. Our discomfort with anger divides us from others who are working for justice and can lead us to saying, "They're just too angry, too radical, too divisive." We idolize peaceful and disciplined protest, civil discourse, polite requests for change, and see angry and loud and disruptive protest as counterproductive. But anger is a natural emotion for humans encountering injustice. And change is pushed forward by people expressing their righteous anger. Many that we see today as heroes, like Martin Luther King Jr. or Muhammad Ali, were seen as too angry and disruptive in their own time. So a practice of inclusion for us is to learn to respect the heat that is brought by others who express their anger. We don't have to become angry ourselves, but we can respect those who are and not tone police them. Another practice that may stretch our capacity for difficult conversations is that we can speak up when we hear or see others engage in acts of exclusion. Now, this can also be difficult, and many of us are conflict avoidant. But silence is complicity, and allyship is not an act we perform in the privacy of our own heads. So when you encounter something that you think is exclusionary, you can say things like, "I feel like that could feel bad to some people," or "that might create a barrier to including everyone," or "reminder, that person you're talking about uses they, them pronouns." Or admit that you don't know everything and say, "That made me uncomfortable. I'm working on being more inclusive and that feels somehow off. Can we talk about it?" Or even just, "I don't agree." There are 1,000 ways to respond. The important thing is that we do. And just like there are micro signals and subtle acts of exclusion, there are also subtle acts of inclusion that we can practice. We can add our own pronouns to our name tags or introduce ourselves with our pronouns, even if we are a person whose gender presentation leads most people to assume they already know our correct pronouns. We can wear a rainbow or a Black Lives Matter button. We can intentionally always leave an open space in our circle of conversation during coffee hour so that there's room for someone else to join us. Or when we notice in a meeting or a conversation that someone hasn't expressed an opinion yet, we can pause and ask them if they want to add anything. We can make sure that our intended welcome and inclusion is visible and obvious. Now, I learned a lesson about this just this week. We have a high chair for children who come to the Thursday dinners, but I've been leaving it in the closet unless I see a child arrive, and then asking the family if they would like to use it. And this week, a volunteer said, "I'm putting the high chair out front where people can see it when they come in." What a brilliant act of welcome and inclusion. Signal your welcome in obvious ways. This practice of being the people we mean to be, of practicing acts of inclusion, may feel too small when the world seems to be on fire and we are faced with big and real threats and urgent calls for action. But we cannot heal the larger world by hurting ourselves or our own small piece of the world. The world we want to see, one of inclusion and justice, still starts right here in our own small circle of influence. Practice being the person you mean to be. Practice the community based on shared values. Practice acting in the larger world based on those values. Our circles of influence will touch other circles of influence, and change can ripple and multiply. It won't be quick. It won't be simple. But it can be. It can be all that we believe in. We just have to practice. Let's take a moment for silent reflection.
I invite you to join in a closing hymn out of the great hymn book. Hymn number 323, Break Not the Circle. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit. Let's sing together.
If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join us as we extinguish our chalice with the words of Emily Richards. Our work here this morning is at an end, and our work has just begun. The work of holding one another and community in love, the work of trusting that we are on the right path, the work of believing that what connects us is stronger than what separates us, the work of radical inclusion, the work of collective liberation, the work of beloved community, a beloved community of which we are all part, a place where we are welcomed, respected, valued, and cherished. May you go in peace, go with joy, go with commitment.